Hello YouTubers, Trollface the Man here, and welcome to Traps and Techniques 2. Please stay off the rug. If you've seen the first Trap and Techniques video, we end up going ahead and making a fully automatic arrow launcher. Ooh, magic button. Whoa! Whoa! Well, today we are going to have some fun with some traps. As you can see, I have a thing set up here. A thingamajig. A design that I came up with myself. I don't know if there's other designs similar to it. I'm sure there probably are. But it allows for a trap to be hidden right in the ground and to reset itself. Now, some of these can be pretty simple, like this one here. You would just be walking by. You would see this, little hut. Oh, look at that. A chest in there. And you would hit the lever. Well, that would open up some piston trapdoors. Excuse me, piston. It would open up a piston trapdoor, which would allow for the gravel on top of it to fall. This is a very simple setup. It just means that whenever you hit the lever, pistons open or close. When they open, of course, the gravel falls. That is just a system underground, yada, yada, yada. You could also have something like this, which would be very much similar, except for it's using sticky pistons hidden underneath the side part here. So when you hit this, it would cause you to fall into there, which would be the cactuses and the lava, and that would... I did not want to get stuck down here. But as you can see, the pistons are actually hidden right here behind the wall. So I'm actually going to bring back up my thing so I can see. They're hidden underneath the wall. Whenever you hit the button, they pull out, which would cause you to fall down in there. This is also one that resets. The gravel one obviously does not reset. Now you can have ones that are really cool if you go to the extreme with this, like this kind of repeater system I have set up here. And if you have, like a really big corridor like this. Oh, look at this fancy place. It looks so cool. Oh man, I can't wait. Oh, I wonder what's back there. Oh man, looks like some cool stuff back there. Boom. Oop, I actually just broke that out. So you could have something like this too, where it could be a button to reset itself, or it could be this because, let's say, for instance, you're the cruel king of this, domain, and, oh hey, an army's coming to attack. Let me just open up this entire floor and let them fall to their doom. So you can see a couple different ways that it can be used practically for that. In this episode, I'm not going to cover how to do all the different stuff because I said it's pretty simple. It's just hiding it underneath and having it pull away. But the one I am going to cover how to do is to build the one that can be hidden in the floor like the original one that I demonstrated. Now the setup for that, let me just get my supplies over here. The setup for that, well, it's a little bit tricky because what we actually need is we need for not only the piston to pull down the floor, but to have other pistons that pull this away. So, as a demonstration of that, we'd have to have, like, that is a monster egg. I do not want a stone monster egg. I have made the mistake of building with that stuff before, and it's not fun in the long run. So, let me just try and get a basic floor structure going here. By that, I mean I'm going to put this here, this, get this kind of, like, surrounded here. Now this is a little bit tricky, and it is going to take at least a little bit of knowledge for redstone torches and repeaters to get it done right, but it's not going to be extremely difficult. So what we have here now is, if I put down, let's say, this lever, you can see these pistons now grip these the stone, so it pulls it out. So that'd be the floor being pulled out. But that just pulling down doesn't really do much of anything except for make a slight indentation in the floor. So what we need is we actually have to have something that not only can pull that down, but can pull it out. Both of them. So what that calls for is it calls for another set of sticky pistons facing this way. And what these sticky pistons will do is we'll pull those ones out once they're deep powered, which will also pull away the stone. So, for simplicity's sake, I'm actually going to build it like... Ooh, come on. I believe in you. I believe you can do it. You just gotta push down like that. There we go. Okay, so for simplicity's sake, I'm going to put two of them facing this way. To pull the pistons out like this. Oop. And I'm going to put the top ones over here. This will just help with the wiring. And there's going to be a lot of wiring, trust me. It's unfortunate truth. Okay, so those ones, two away. Not want that hole in the ground. Just replace that with some grass. It'll look nice and pretty. I suppose I don't need that chest. There we go, some grass there. So, right there. Same thing for this other side. So what we're going to have is we now have blocks that will pull this down, which would be these ones, pull away, which would be that one, and pull away, which would be that one. So now all we need to do is just get this thing powered. So the structure is pretty basic right now. I'm just going to be allowing myself to bring up the wiring to these actual pistons. So if this is powered, actually what I'm going to do for this is, because we want to run it directly into, I'm going to put it like this. So if I power this now with this lever here, that pushes out, and that would be what would carry back the stone. So we have that all wired up. I'm going to wire up this side now too. Same thing here. Now these ones also need to be wired up. I'm going to be using these repeaters because they'll keep things pretty simple. Just point directly in there to make sure the wiring, because otherwise if I don't use the repeaters, the wires will just kind of go like this and they'll turn into a square. So the repeater is just there to make sure the wiring is there. And we're also going to need that to actually set up the whole wiring process. Okay. We got the basics done. We got the things set up. We got them set up like this. Now, what we're going to need is we're going to need a central source of power to be coming through here in order to actually have the pistons stick up and stick out. So I'm going to just build a simple staircase. And this is going to be my staircase for my wiring, which is going to be actually what allows us to activate the repeaters and such. So I'm going to have this lever right here, and this on this side. So it powers it like that. Bring this wiring down here. And now we have to power everything. And this is why we want it to be on different sides, because we're going to need to power this piston. Ooh, trying to put the repeaters down. We're going to have to power these pistons too. Okay. So everything is going to need to be wired together at a certain point. However, right now I'm just going to wire up the basic piston structure because, oops. At this point, I want to try and make sure everything is figured out. Okay, so one thing at a time. So the first thing I'm going to wire up is I'm going to wire these two outside pistons together. So this one and this one. To do this, it's probably going to be best for me to move this underground to keep it out of the way of the other wires. Like this little thing right here. Okay, so right there. Do I go straight down? I do. I go straight down from here. So we're going to have this just like so. And I actually put a grass block up there. after I do this first set of wiring, you'll kind of, get the idea a little bit, and I'll be able to move a lot quicker. But so right now, if this is powered like so, we can see that that powers this right here, which will allow the blocks to be pulled away. Now the issue is that this side right here is not powered because we don't have enough, well, length to actually power it. Now, the problem with this is we could just put like this repeater here, which repeaters extend signals, like so, but it would cause a delay. So like, let's say for instance, if I depower this, that goes off just a little bit slower than the other one. You can hear the doo-doo, doo-doo. And that's because these repeaters add a 1-tick delay. Now, the good thing about working with these repeaters is right now this side has a 1-tick delay from here and a 1-tick delay from here. What we can do with this is, because we have these repeaters here, this only has a 1-tick delay. The repeaters, if you right-click on them, you can add another tick delay. So you see how I can go up to 4 levels. So if I hit this once, that means that no longer does it have a 1-tick delay, it has a 2-tick delay. Which means that if I activate them now, you can hear they activate at the exact same time. Excuse me, I'm having difficulty talking today. So those two are set up at this point. But if you do notice one thing, is that for the pistons to actually be on, for the piston floor to be on, the lever has to be turned off. So I'm going to show you how to fix that a little bit later. But I'm going to do the same thing I did with this side over here with this other side. But I can cover up this hole in the ground, which will allow me to actually wire over top of it. So that's going to give me a little bit more playroom. Can't cover that up though. Which means I covered it up on this side. There we go. So once again, just make sure everything's wired up still. Yep. Now I'm going to wire up these 2 top ones here. Like I said, the 2 bottom ones here the same way I did those top ones. I actually could just go right on through here, I suppose. Ooh, that would not be a good spot to go right there, though. Unless I were to go one deeper, because otherwise I'm going to destroy my wiring. So I'm actually going to go one deeper through here. Boop, boop, boop. I'm going to add a repeater here again, just to make sure that I have enough length. Which means I'm also going to have to add the 2-tick delay to right here. So 1, 2. Everything goes well. Yeah, look at that. Both sides fire off now. So now you can see that pulls back these sticky pistons, which gives me the ability to retract the structure. And if I had the stone blocks on here, like instead of being up here, like where they would be when it's contracted, right here, you can see both the pistons and the blocks are pulled away, and they're put back in place. Now is going to be the tricky part. What we're going to have to do is make sure that these retract just slightly before these contract and pull it back, in order to make sure that, well, we actually get a retractable floor. Now we can just wire this up just like this and just like this to the main thing. So now, right now, what would happen is everything fires off at once, which means we get this weird kind of pattern of, things not working right. Alright, so now we got this all wired up. The thing that actually happens is it takes so long for these to contract. So in order to give it sufficient time for them to contract, to pull down, and to pull away the other stuff, otherwise we get this weird effect like this, I'm actually going to increase the tick delay on each one of these other repeaters by 1. And that's going to allow it sufficient time in order to pull back and to grab the items and pull them away. So we can see that it worked on all but one of them. Which I would have to figure out why it didn't work on the one, but that's probably just because something isn't being powered right. Perhaps not. So like I said, what we're doing now is there's a 1 tick delay on these 2 main pistons, the 2 main pistons here, which are actually going to pull down the floor. And there is a 3 tick delay on these other ones here, a 3 and 2 tick delay, which is what actually allows for it to pull or contract a second later. I think at this point, though, the best thing to do is to add yet another tick delay to all these surrounding pistons in order to give it sufficient time, because I think it takes about 1/4 of a second for the animation of the piston to actually contract, which means that if you don't give it sufficient time, it actually doesn't contract and pull away right. There we go. Now it works perfectly. Check that out. So we actually have a resetting floor here, a resetting floor trap. So if I put this like this, perfect. So we have an actual floor trap that can reset and, well, it's in the floor. It's kind of cool. Now you can do the wiring differently than the way I did it. There's plenty of different ways to do it. You can conceal it better. You can do whatever you really want with it. For instance, this right here, probably not a good thing. I could have moved that back one. But let's say, for instance, I don't want to do that. I'm just going to have a simple floor trap. Oh, I keep leaving holes in the floor. We'll just put lava in here, for instance. There's just a bunch of different ways to do it. If you guys find your own ways to wire it up, because like I said, there is more than one way to do this, feel free to try it out and let me know how it works out. So, here we go with a basic floor resetting trap. Actually, you know what's going to happen? That wool is actually going to catch on fire because it is, well, wool. And the game likes to set stuff on fire well above where it should be able to. Let's say polished granite instead. Now, these are definitely easier to conceal than the regular traps that involve, you know, falling sand or falling gravel, because they can actually be put right out in the open. They don't have to be, you know, hidden underneath a wall and stuff, and it's not obvious, because when you have sand or gravel, you know, you can look at that and you can go, that's potentially a trap. This stuff is just it's very well concealed. And like I said, what I did is I had the piston set on 2 different sides. You can put them on the same side. It's just that this was a simpler way of wiring, the simpler way of demonstrating. So now the only other thing I want to show you is that if I were, for instance, to have this, because the lever has to be in the off position right now in order for it to function. We don't want that, because let's say if I wanted to use a button to really make this a self-resetting trap. So I'm going to put down a button, like so. Actually, I needed that. I just threw that, and I kind of needed that. And that button is impossible to see. Let's put down a wooden button. Okay, I guess it's just called a button too, or something. Button. That must be the wooden button? I don't know. Yeah, there we go. There's the wooden button. So, as you can see, this doesn't really work very well, because it's actually going to be when we press the button that the trap is going to fire off. We don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a simple inverter by using a redstone torch. Now, the way this is going to work is if you take something like a redstone torch, normally it stays on. So it means anything out of it is being powered, right? So like, let's say, for instance, this piston. Oop, just pushed me away. Now, that means that we can have something powered without having a lever. But the interesting thing is if we power a redstone torch, it depowers itself. So that means on is off and off is on. So it's exactly backwards than what we have it. And that's what we're going to use to our advantage for this, is we're going to actually use it to make it where having the button on is actually having the button off. So it's an interesting thing. So if I were to do this, for instance, everything is turned on currently, right? But then when I press this button, it turns off the torch by powering it, meaning that everything turns off. So right now, we have it set up where we can now use buttons, or even if we use a lever, the lever is actually on this is the on position instead of it being the off position. So anyways, guys, if you enjoy this tutorial, you like the content, I'd appreciate it if you please would remember to comment, rate, and subscribe. I'll try and make more stuff like this. It gets a little bit chaotic at times, and it might be a little bit slow to be put off from one episode to the next, but put out from one episode to the next. But I hope that this kind of stuff is useful. I hope I have plenty of other different things I want to be able to demonstrate, and doing these kind of structures are kind of, it's like a puzzle, and it's pretty fun. So anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you find any of this stuff useful, please remember to comment, rate, and subscribe. Thank you, and bye.